The lights flickered ominously in the Earth Defense Command Center as Captain Elena Vasquez leaned over the holomap. Her eyes, sharp as a hawk's, scanned the flickering projections of enemy vessels surrounding Earth. Every fiber of her being was taut with focus, the weight of her responsibility pressing down like a storm about to break. "Admiral Trent," she began, her voice steady despite the rising tension. "How accurate is this intel?" Admiral Marcus Trent, an imposing figure with a silver mane and decades of battle-hardened experience, stood beside her. He didn't look up from the data stream scrolling before him. "As accurate as it gets. The Dominion has made its move. They're coming for us." The Dominion, a name spoken in whispers throughout the galaxy, a conqueror of worlds, leaving devastation in its wake. Their cold, metallic voice echoed through the command center, transmitted from a distant part of the galaxy, thousands of light-years away. It was an ultimatum, a demand for humanity's complete surrender. The message was simple, brutal, and devoid of empathy. Submit or be destroyed. Vasquez's jaw tightened. The very air in the room seemed to thicken, charged with the unspoken fear of the officers around her. But there was no room for hesitation. She slammed her fist on the console, the holographic map trembling in response. "We're not surrendering. Not now, not ever. We'll give them a fight they'll never forget." A murmur of agreement rippled through the room, though the tension remained palpable. Trent finally looked up, his gaze locking with hers. "We need to unify our forces, Elena. The Dominion doesn't know what we're capable of. Let's keep it that way until we strike." She nodded, already shifting her focus to the next move. "Agreed. We have to hit them where they least expect it, hard, fast, and with everything we've got." The room buzzed with the rapid exchange of orders, every officer at their station executing tasks with military precision. Outside, Earth's defensive satellites adjusted their positions, their cold, metallic surfaces gleaming against the vast blackness of space. Fleets of ships began to mobilize, their engines roaring to life, filling the void with their collective might. As the preparations escalated, Vasquez turned back to Trent, her voice low and resolute. "This isn't just about survival, Marcus. It's about sending a message. We've faced extinction before, but we're still here. They'll learn that humanity doesn't break, we adapt, we fight back." Trent's gaze softened slightly, a rare glimmer of admiration in his steely eyes. "Then let's show them what we're made of." The tension in the command center simmered, ready to erupt as the first wave of Dominion ships entered Earth's outer defenses. Vasquez could feel it, a pulsing, relentless pressure in her chest. But she also felt something else, something stronger. Determination. Defiance. A refusal to bow to an empire that underestimated them. As she turned to face the holographic fleet bearing down on Earth, her voice cut through the silence with unwavering resolve. "You desire war? We'll hand you a battle." The words hung in the air, a promise and a challenge. Earth's defenders braced for the onslaught, knowing the fight for humanity's survival had just begun. The command center was a hive of frenetic activity as Captain Elena Vasquez prepared for the anticipated onslaught. The air was thick with the hum of machinery and the clatter of keyboards, each sound underscoring the mounting pressure. Outside the reinforced viewport, the vastness of space was dotted with the approaching armada of Dominion ships, dark, menacing, and intent on destruction. "Captain Vasquez?" Admiral Trent's voice cut through the cacophony, laden with urgency. He approached with a solemn expression, his hands gripping a data pad that displayed a flurry of tactical information. "We've received a critical alert from our lunar base. The Dominion is preparing a major assault." Vasquez's eyes narrowed as she reviewed the data. The lunar base was a strategic point in Earth's defense network, and its loss could turn the tide of the conflict. "What's our status on reinforcements?" she asked, her tone clipped. Trent's face was etched with concern. "We're mobilizing as fast as possible, but the Dominion's advance is quicker than anticipated. We need to act now." Before Vasquez could respond, an incoming transmission flashed on the main screen. The channel was encrypted, the emblem of the Freeborn Alliance, a coalition of oppressed species, emblazoned across it. The transmission crackled to life, revealing an unfamiliar face, Commander Tala, her sharp features framed by an intricately braided headdress. Captain Vasquez? Tala's voice was calm but edged with an undercurrent of tension. I'm Commander Tala of the Freeborn Alliance. We've been tracking Dominion movements and intercepted their plan to strike your lunar base. Vasquez's eyebrows lifted in surprise. And why would you help us? Tala's gaze was unwavering. The Dominion has terrorized our people for years. Our goals align, for now. We have a vested interest in seeing them defeated. We're prepared to assist, but we need assurances. Assurances? Vasquez's voice was laced with skepticism. What exactly are you asking for? Access to your strategic data and full cooperation in a joint offensive, Tala replied. We can help you hold the lunar base, but it will require coordination. Are you willing to trust us? The request hung in the air, a precarious offer in the midst of looming disaster. Vasquez glanced at Trent, who gave a curt nod. Trust was a luxury they could not afford, but survival was paramount. Agreed, Vasquez said, her voice firm. We'll share what we can and coordinate our efforts. But know this, we're not taking any chances. As the Freeborn fleet appeared on the radar, sleek and agile, the command center's tension shifted from doubt to cautious hope. Vasquez issued orders to reroute their defensive forces to reinforce the lunar base, while Tala's ships moved into position. The coordination was swift and efficient, a testament to the Freeborn's proficiency. The hum of the command center grew louder as the systems activated for battle. Vasquez took a deep breath, her mind racing through every scenario and contingency. She turned to Trent. This is it. We're about to find out if this alliance holds. The lunar base came into view on the main screen, its once calm exterior now a battleground. Dominion ships swarmed around it, launching wave after wave of attacks. The combined fleets of Earth and the Freeborn readied their weapons, the tension palpable. Freeborn forces engaging. Tala's voice crackled over the comms. Preparing to defend the lunar base. Vasquez's eyes locked onto the screen, her heart pounding. The battle was about to begin, and every second counted. As the Dominion ships closed in, the alliance between humanity and the Freeborn was put to the ultimate test. Engage! Vasquez commanded, her voice cutting through the chaos. The screen erupted into a kaleidoscope of light and movement as the two fleets clashed. The first wave of explosions illuminated the vastness of space, the battle commencing in a spectacle of fury and determination. The outcome of this battle, and the fragile alliance forged in desperation, would determine the future of humanity and its new allies. The command center was a maelstrom of activity, the air charged with anticipation and anxiety. Captain Elena Vasquez paced back and forth, her eyes glued to the tactical display that flickered with the chaotic ballet of battle. Outside, the vacuum of space was a canvas of fire and destruction as the combined forces of Earth and the Freeborn Alliance clashed with the Dominion fleet. Captain, we're receiving a distress signal from the lunar base, Lieutenant Harris reported, his voice tight with urgency. It's critical. Vasquez's heart sank. The lunar base was under siege, and despite their best efforts, the Dominion's relentless assault had taken its toll. Patch it through, she ordered, her tone resolute. The screen flickered, revealing the frantic face of Commander Tala, her features set in grim determination. Captain, we've got major breaches in the base's outer defenses. We're losing control of the perimeter. Hold your position, Vasquez commanded, her voice unwavering despite the rising stakes. We're sending reinforcements. The command center buzzed as additional units were dispatched to the lunar base. As Vasquez issued orders, the tactical display shifted, revealing a troubling development. A small contingent of Dominion ships had broken away from the main fleet, moving stealthily toward Earth. Admiral Trent, we have an issue, Vasquez said, turning to the seasoned strategist. Look at the outer perimeter. Trent's eyes narrowed as he scanned the display. They're attempting a flanking maneuver. We can't let them reach Earth. Before they could act, a sudden alert blared, signaling a breach in one of Earth's defense arrays. The alarm's shrill tone pierced the command center's tension. Vasquez's heart skipped a beat as she realized the implications. "Admiral, we've got a problem," she said, her voice tight. "Someone's compromised our defense network." Trent's expression darkened. "We need to find out who and fast." The room erupted into a flurry of activity as technicians scrambled to trace the breach. Vasquez's mind raced as she reviewed the data, her gut telling her that this was more than just a technical failure. "Captain, I've identified the source of the breach," Lieutenant Harris announced, his voice barely audible over the din. "It's coming from within." A chill swept through the command center. "From within?" Vasquez echoed, her tone edged with disbelief. "Are you saying someone on our side is responsible?" "Yes, ma'am," Harris confirmed. "We're tracing the signal to a secure section of the facility." "Move!" Vasquez commanded, her voice sharp. "We need to secure that area immediately." As security teams raced to the location, Vasquez and Trent exchanged grim looks. The betrayal was a stark blow, undermining their fragile alliance and jeopardizing their defenses. Moments later, the command center's doors slid open, revealing a familiar face, Colonel Jameson, one of Earth's highest-ranking officers. He stood at the threshold, his expression unreadable. "Colonel?" Vasquez said, her voice a mixture of surprise and suspicion. "What's going on?" Jameson's gaze was steely, his demeanor unyielding. "Captain, I need to speak with you. There's more at stake here than you realize." Before Vasquez could respond, an explosion rocked the command center, sending shockwaves through the room. The lights flickered and alarms blared as the facility was plunged into chaos. "Get to cover!" Vasquez shouted, her voice cutting through the pandemonium. The room erupted into a frenzy as officers scrambled to assess the damage. Vasquez's mind raced as she tried to piece together the puzzle. The breach, the explosion, everything pointed to a coordinated attack from within. Amidst the confusion, she locked eyes with Jameson. "You're going to explain everything, Colonel. But first, we need to get through this." Jameson nodded, a grim determination in his eyes. "Agreed. Let's deal with the immediate threat." As the chaos unfolded around them, Vasquez and her team fought to regain control. The Dominion's forces were relentless. But now, with the realization of internal treachery, the fight took on a new dimension. In the midst of the turmoil, Vasquez knew one thing for certain: the battle for humanity's survival had just become even more complex. The betrayal from within was a wound that cut deep, threatening to unravel everything they had fought for. The chaos of the command center had reached a fever pitch. The explosion had blasted a gaping hole in the walls, and the dim, emergency lighting cast flickering shadows across the disheveled room. Captain Elena Vasquez stood amidst the wreckage, her face set in grim determination. She could feel the weight of the recent betrayal heavy on her shoulders, but there was no time to dwell on it. The survival of humanity depended on her next actions. "Captain?" Lieutenant Harris called out, his voice strained over the din. "The Dominion is launching a final assault on the lunar base. We've lost contact with Tala's forces." "Damn it," Vasquez muttered, her eyes scanning the tactical display. The once clear strategy had devolved into a chaotic mess. "We need to regroup and mount a counterattack. We can't let them overrun the base." Admiral Trent, who had been coordinating the response to the internal breach, looked up, his face etched with resolve. "We'll need to push through their flanking forces to reach the lunar base. It's a risk, but it's the only way." Vasquez nodded sharply, her mind racing through tactical options. "Prepare a diversionary strike to draw their forces away from the lunar base. We'll hit them with everything we've got." The command center's personnel worked with newfound urgency, their movements quick and precise. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation as the combined Earth and Freeborn fleets prepared for what would likely be the decisive battle. "Captain!" Jameson's voice cut through the chaos as he approached, his expression uncharacteristically tense. "We need to talk about the betrayal." "There's no time for that now," Vasquez snapped, though her voice carried a trace of underlying concern. "Right now, we have to focus on saving the lunar base." Jameson's gaze was unwavering. I understand, but if we don't address the traitor within our ranks, we risk further sabotage. We need to deal with this before it's too late. Vasquez's frustration was evident, but she knew Jameson had a point. Fine. Secure the command center and find out who's behind this. I'll lead the counteroffensive. As the fleets launched their coordinated assault, the space around the lunar base erupted into a cacophony of explosions and laser fire. The Dominion ships pressed their advantage, their attacks relentless and overwhelming. Vasquez's fighters streaked through the battlefield, weaving between enemy fire and debris. She could feel the adrenaline surging through her veins, every decision critical. All units, focus on the Dominion's command ships, she barked through the comms. We need to disrupt their coordination. Her squadron responded with synchronized precision, their laser fire targeting the Dominion's command vessels. The battle raged on, the sky filled with the streaks of weapon fire and the trails of burning debris. In the command center, security forces were closing in on the traitor's location. Jameson's team had narrowed down the breach's source, and soon they were confronting a rogue officer in one of the secure rooms. Colonel, the traitor spat as they burst in, his face twisted with defiance. You're too late. The Dominion's victory is inevitable. Jameson's face was a mask of grim determination. We're not finished yet. Surrender now, and maybe you'll face a less severe consequence. The traitor sneered, but before he could respond, the room shook with another explosion. The security team reacted swiftly, subduing the rogue officer before he could inflict further damage. Back in the thick of the battle, Vasquez's fighter maneuvered through the chaos, her eyes locked on the enemy command ship. We've got to break their command structure, she shouted over the comms. Push forward! The final assault was a desperate, all-out effort. The combined forces of Earth and the Freeborn pressed their attack with renewed vigor. The Dominion ships began to falter, their once cohesive formation breaking under the sustained pressure. As the last of the Dominion forces retreated, the command center fell into a tense silence. The lunar base had been saved, though it bore the scars of the brutal confrontation. Vasquez's fighter landed amidst the debris of the command center, her face streaked with grime and sweat. She removed her helmet, her gaze meeting Admiral Trent's. We held them off, she said, her voice hoarse but triumphant. For now. Trent nodded, his expression a mix of relief and lingering tension. We've survived this fight, but the war is far from over. Vasquez looked around at the battered but resolute faces of her crew and allies. We've proven that humanity can face down the darkest threats. Together, we'll ensure that the Dominion learns that we are not to be underestimated. As the remnants of the battle faded, a fragile peace settled over the command center. The immediate threat had been quelled, but the scars of the conflict, both internal and external, served as a stark reminder of the trials yet to come. The fight for humanity's survival was far from over, but their resolve had been tested and found unyielding.